Jaws. The story of a killer shark terrorizing a beach community, but also the story of a movie that had legendary production problems and nearly never got made, but went on to become the biggest grossing film of all time. But what happened to the sharks after the filming ended? This is the story of one of those sharks. This is the story of one man's mission to bring Jaws back from the dead.
You son of a...
Jaws. Steven Spielberg's shark thriller from 1975, the movie that kept everybody out of the water and also changed the way that movies are made forever. Keeping the shark out of sight and only giving it 4 minutes of screen time is what made Jaws so scary. What you don't see is more frightening than what you do. But this wasn't by choice. Steven Spielberg and his team were forced to work around a shark that would routinely malfunction. If it wasn't the skin becoming waterlogged and looking saggy on camera, it was the salt water damaging the electronics and animatronics and the mechanisms that powered and moved the shark. Using the water, barrels, and innovative camera angles and techniques, Spielberg and his team were able to create a shark that wasn't there. Underpinned by John Williams' amazing score, the shark was as much in the mind as it was on the screen. However, when the shark did work, it proved to be one of the most frightening and enduring movie monsters cinema has ever seen.
The shark worked well enough that we, for a while there, had the biggest hit of all time.
After the mammoth success of Jaws, in true Hollywood style, the sequel was greenlit pretty much straight away, and in 1978 we got Jaws 2. Jaws 2 saw a new shark being built especially for the movie, and this was the same for Jaws 3 and Jaws the Revenge. Yep, that shot was in Jaws the Revenge.
Jesus Christ.
So what happened to the original sharks from Jaws? Well, after the production had gone over schedule and budget, and with absolutely no hint of the success of the movie in sight, according to production designer Joe Alves, the sharks were brought back to Universal, left on the backlot, and simply rotted away. The studio, however, hadn't thrown away the moulds that Joe Alves and Bob Matty had made, so when Jaws became a huge success, the studio quickly made a fourth shark out of fiberglass and hung him by his tail for visitors to see at Universal Studios. Bruce hung at Universal Studios for around 15 years. Around 1990, so only 3 years after Jaws the Revenge was released, he was starting to show his age, so Universal cut him down, bundled him in with a pile of wrecked stunt cars, and shipped him off to a nearby junkyard. The owner of the junkyard, Sam Adlin, he didn't consider the shark junk. He knew exactly what he had, and he mounted Bruce on 2 tall metal poles in the middle of a small clutch of palm trees, and there Bruce would stay for more than 2 decades. That wasn't until around 2017 when the shark suddenly disappeared. Rumours were that the shark had begun to rot away like the others, so had to be taken down due to safety concerns. But the owner of the junkyard remained tight-lipped, and the mystery continued. It wasn't until the Daily Jaws got an invite to an unlikely event a few months later. We were invited to Walker Stalker over in London, a kind of Comic-Con for fans of The Walking Dead, and we were invited by none other than the show's executive producer and creator, Greg Nicotero. Now Greg is one of the world's biggest Jaws fans, one of the world's greatest and most legendary special effects creators. He and his studio have worked with directors such as Quentin Tarantino in many of his features. So we were curious as to why we'd been invited to this Walker Stalker, as he said he had something he wanted to show us. Upon arriving, I met with Greg, and we talked a little bit about Jaws. And then he showed me his phone, and what I saw, I couldn't believe. Greg showed me photographs of the mould that had gone missing from the junkyard. He had acquired it, and the goal was to restore it. He'd been working on this project undercover now for about a year, and now that he had the shark in his possession, he could begin work. The plan? To have a full-size, fully restored shark from Jaws installed at the Academy Museum for Motion Picture Arts for Jaws fans and movie lovers to come and enjoy. On November 23rd, 2020, the dream became a reality, and Greg's fully restored Bruce Shark was installed, restored back to what would be considered ready for shooting on the first day in Martha's Vineyard back in 1974. Oh, one more thing. One of those photographs that we showed you of people standing next to the fourth mould of Bruce back in Universal Studios? Well, the guy second on the right, that's Greg Nicotero as a teenager. back in 1976. Thanks, Greg. We really appreciate all your work and bringing this dream come true for many of us. We drink to your legs. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I've been Ross for the Daily Jaws. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok and Instagram, and get all the Jaws information you need from thedailyjaws.com. Until next time, farewell and adieu.